Safety first. Be careful not to cut your fingers on the sharp knife. How to enjoy a delicious jamón ibérico, a one-of-a-kind gourmet treat. Step 1. Parts of the ham. To cut a ham successfully, we need to be familiar with its different parts. The matha, or literally drumstick, runs along the longest side of the ham and is the part where the most meat with streaky fat absorbed into its muscle is found, making slices with that veiny appearance so characteristic of exquisite ham. La babilla, or stifle, is on the opposite side of the matha and is the shorter and narrower. La punta is the bottom part of the ham, separated from the babilla and the matha by the hip bone of the animal. The jarret, or hock, is the part between the rotula, or knee, and the caña, or marrow, and is deemed by experts to be the most delicious part of the ham. Step 2. Tools of the trade. It is extremely important to have the proper tools. Cutting a jamón ibérico requires a fine technique at the best of times, so make things easy on yourself and get knives designed for the job. The classic jamero slicing knife has a long, fine and very sharp blade which facilitates the cutting of fine slices. The puntillo, or pointy knife, has a short blade, is thin but rigid, which facilitates slitting and cutting around the bones. The pelado, or peeling knife, has a broad and tough blade which makes it easier to cut through the ham's thick skin and subcutaneous fat. The blade sharpener removes small nicks and imperfections and keeps the knives in good shape. Finally, it is very important to have a good, tightly adjusted ham stand which keeps the ham in place while you're cutting. Some ham stands have special turning and balancing features to help you slice evenly and horizontally. Step 3. Fixing of the ham on the ham stand. If the ham is to be eaten relatively quickly, say in 3 days, the ham should be started on the matha side and thus stand with this side up. If, however, the ham is to be enjoyed over a longer time, it is best to start with the babilla because, as it is the narrowest bit, it dries faster. Step 4. Removing the skin. With the pelado knife, proceed to cut a deep oblique shape to the bone at the base of the caña. Using the same knife and cutting upwards, remove the skin of the ham. We can use the puntilla knife in the trickier places and continue paring until all the yellow-coloured subcutaneous fat is removed, leaving behind the good white and pink fat. Step 5. The perfect slices. Start slicing finely on the matha side, holding the knife firmly from top to bottom and cutting always parallel to the ham. The slice should be very fine, the full breadth of the ham and with a length of about 4 to 6 centimeters, the ideal size for a mouthful. Slices should be of uniform size and cut evenly from the ham. A typical serving would be slices weighing a total of 100 grams, touching but not overlapping on a plate. Presentation is important. Step 6. The hip. Bit by bit, fine, straight slicing the hip bone will appear on the lower part of the ham. To continue slicing around it, maintaining a straight line, we make a deep cut around the bone with the puntilla. When we continue cutting with the gemero, the ham will now fall away in slices on its own. Step 7. The knee. We will also hit bone on the upper part of the ham. To get around this new obstacle, we must make a deep cut across the ham and from now on cut the slices above this bit in the opposite direction, that is to say from down to up. Step 8. The hock. Once the manzana has been fully exhausted, we move on to the hock. This area is cut in a similar way to the manzana, from top to bottom in the lower part, and from bottom to top in the upper part. The tibia peroné bones will mean slightly tilting the ham to make the most of this area. Step 9. Turning over the ham to start on the babilla. Once we have finished with the first side of the ham, it is time to turn it over and start on the opposite side. We'll hit the hip bone on the bottom part of the ham straight away. For this, we'll need the puntilla again, making a long way cut to separate the babilla from the bone. Cutting around the hip, the slice will come away without any difficulty. We'll keep cutting straight from top to bottom, making fine slices, measuring the whole width of the ham, always about 4 to 6 centimeters long, and approximately double the width of the knife. Step 10. Turning the ham on its side. Once the femur is cut away from the babilla, we have to turn the ham 90 degrees, placing the ham on its side on the ham stand. This way we can sit the ham vertically instead of horizontally, as we've been doing up to now. It isn't easy, but it's the best way to slice the ham here successfully. Step 11. Inner hock. It might seem that there's nothing left to be garnered, but we must now work on the inner hock, and once we have exposed the tibia and peroné, we will see that there are still very tasty pockets of meat whose proximity to the bone makes for an extraordinary flavour. To get to this, we must insert the puntilla under the finest bone, the peroné, which can be separated from the knee with a simple cut. This bone can be snapped with the puntilla around about where the hock is, which means we can cut inside, making fine slices. Step 12. Flakes and dice. Even meat that cannot be finely sliced can be made use of as flakes or dice, which are quite delicious and very handy in recipes using ham, such as croquettes for example. The ham bone is an essential in Spanish cooking, lending delicious Iberian aromas to slow cooking casseroles such as cocidos, pulse dishes and stews.